Our first scholarship winner relocated from a small community in North Carolina. She is accompanied by her parents, Donna and Matoka, and her name is Brianna Aumoeualogo. Brianna?
Okay, so here's my essay. Scotland County was home. The little North Carolina community was where I grew up. It was my first breath, my first bike ride, my first crush, my first best friend, my first day of kindergarten, and my first day of high school. It was the beginning of who I am today. With one high school, old enough even my mom went to it, a rundown, five-lane bowling alley, skating rink, and a movie theater that had the added historical bonus of having your great-grandpa's thumb stuck to the bottom of the floor. Scotland County was certainly not the most entertaining place to grow up, but you learn to be appreciative. Walmart became your mall since the actual one was an hour away. The large wooden playground became the cool kids hangout. And Golden Corral was your five-star dining. Despite my fond memories and the endearing perks that come from having a high school mascot that wears a legitimate Scottish kilt, Scotland County isn't known for too many good things. The median house income is about $30,000 according to the U.S. Census, with a 70% unemployment rate. In 2011, the year before I moved, it was tied for the highest number of teen pregnancies in the state. As often is the case with poverty came drugs. Even in our middle school, we often had drug searches that ended with plenty of findings. Gangs were a big problem in school as well, and I can't remember a day in middle school or my short-lived term in high school where at least one fight didn't break out. There were churches on every corner, but that didn't make a big difference. My family struggled to pay rent on our small rundown rental homes. I was too young at the time to really understand, but we were living paycheck to paycheck. When we moved in with my grandma for a few years, I only saw the benefits of being spoiled daily by our grandmother we loved. My mom, in her early 40s at the time, worked hard to put herself through nursing school before finally working as an OBGYN nurse at the local Scotland Memorial Hospital. My dad worked as a state correctional officer for the state prison in South Carolina. They both worked tirelessly to give their three children what they needed and wanted. But between the oldest son starting college and the two young daughters just starting school, times were tough. Despite this place being horrible by all conventional standards, it was home. When my parents announced that we would be following my brother, who had left for Southwestern Baptist in Texas and recently got married the summer of my 8th grade year, I was less than impressed. My life was over. At 14, having just gone past the fear-inducing 9th grade year, made a few new friends and found a place in the world, it was gone. Moving was an ordeal to say the least. Packing up our 3-bedroom home, my grandma's home, my 2 dogs, 1 cat, 1 1997 Mercury, a red 15-year-old van, and a huge warehouse full of inherited furniture and knickknacks, old military gear, and accumulated miscellaneous objects is a nightmare. It's important to mention that besides my brother and my father, both really big, strong men, I was the next strongest. So it fell on our shoulders to move all the heavy pieces of furniture, and safes, and other unpleasantly heavy and hard to move objects. One 30-foot moving van later, 2 packed cars, tearful goodbyes, and some very special children, we are off on our 22-hour journey to home. When we first arrived in Texas, we had little. Although we had things from North Carolina, much of it went into storage as we temporarily moved in with my brother. Every newlywed's dream, right? With my mom unemployed and my dad back in North Carolina trying to sell our old home while awaiting a transfer to the federal prison, things were off to a rough start. It was well into September when my mom finally found work as a workman's compensation case manager. My dad finally received his transfer in time for Christmas that year. They began making enough to even have some spending cash left over. My sister integrated well into her new middle school and found her love of band. We were even able to find a house for rent close to my new high school. Despite all these very fortunate events, I was miserable. Coming to Lake Dallas, I had hoped to find friends quickly. This proved trickier than I thought. Due to my shy nature, I ended up sitting alone at lunch. I talked to kids in class, but it didn't go any farther. I was new, but no one really took notice. I complained to anyone who listened. The food wasn't as good, the teachers were too hard, it was too big. They had a weird green falcon as a mascot. I hung on to every I miss you and it's not the same without you text I received from people back home. I became bitter and resentful of my parents for uprooting me. I spent sophomore year in this mindset while most of my old friends moved on. Junior year, I grew up. I was tired of being miserable and lonely. I started looking at what I was doing to change my situation, and it wasn't much. I was shy, but I was letting that timidness hold me back. While this may seem a little weird, I began putting myself into situations that made me uncomfortable. I started talking to people first, and I joined some new clubs. By taking an active role in trying to change my situation, I found that while I still didn't have that typical close-knit group of best friends, I did have people to sit with at lunch. I had people I could go to for homework advice. While I still missed my old home, it didn't make me bitter or lonely anymore. Moving didn't just affect my personal relationship though. Besides obvious increases in job, education, and entertainment opportunities, moving to Texas allowed me to see the world too. The summer of my junior year, I got to go to Costa Rica through my school. While there, we hiked the rainforest, rafted down rivers, saw howler monkeys and bats, and jumped off cliffs. We ate local cuisine and fruits that looked like aliens. We zip-lined down in the rainforest in a cloud of fog so thick you couldn't see the end. That week, I was in awe of the world. A few weeks after my trip to Costa Rica, my father, sister, and I were able to go to American Samoa. Samoa is a small island in between New Zealand and Hawaii, and it is also where my father is from. Due to the price of the trip, my sister and I had never been, and my dad's last trip had been when his father died in 1999. The move and the raise in income for both my parents made the trip possible. We spent 3 weeks immersed in the culture my dad grew up in. I swam with lionfish and triggerfish. I began to learn a new language. I learned how to open a coconut. I learned about the Matai, or the chief system, and the heritage of respect and family I come from for the first time. Knowing that places and people and cultures like that exist in the world fuels me to want to travel and learn and experience as much as I possibly can. The move brought this about. While I may still miss Scotland County, I now have the foresight to see what good move has brought my family. It has taught me that relationships require work. Through both the maintaining of old friendships and the nourishment of new ones, I have learned that you can't expect others to do something you are unwilling to do. Moving has taught me about the world and myself. I have a newfound respect of people different from me and for Samoan culture. Moving sucks. No matter how far or close, it is never fun to pick up everything and leave the comfortable. It's okay to think that and feel hurt. Just don't let that hold you back. There are experiences waiting for you in every single new place you go. You just have to have the courage to jump. I may have lost my place in the world, but I found a new one. Scotland County might be the place I began, and Corinth might be the place I am now. Where I'm going is anywhere I want to be.